And so, the North American wasteland watched as the old world merged with the new. The wasteland remained forever changed as the specter of the United States rose from the ashes of the Great War and laid claim to the continent once again. Granite, the son of an Enclave veteran and the hero of Arroyo, had taken the Enclave, and with it, its dream to restore America. But what became of it? Did Granite live up to the ideals of the Founding Fathers 500 years ago? Or did he forge a brave new America in the face of this dangerous world the United States found itself in?
The ghouls were often treated as outsiders within New California and the rest of America. Some were treasured for their pre-war skills or pitied for their deformities. Others were feared due to the possibility of going feral. With the coming of the Enclave, ghouls were integrated into civil society once and for all. Ghouls helped America grapple with its history, for better or worse.
With America saved, Dornan resigned with honors and retired to the Strip, developing cocktails which used Nuka-Cola as a mixer. Dornan's bar, the Oil Rig, would become one of the hottest bars of New Vegas, although there were several HR complaints about his reaction if staff were caught out of uniform.
Granite continued on as president for many years before finally stepping down, restarting the tradition of presidential term limits instead of serving for life that had become the way of life in the Enclave. Many asked for him not to, but the president remained adamant. In part was his old age, while the rest was a decline in mental faculties due to years of service to his nation. For a full life of service to the American people, Granite was given the title American of the Century, before finally retiring to a modest abode north of Arroyo, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. And what of the Enclave? The pre-war specter that was the U.S. government that hoped to bring back the United States to the American shores? President Granite dropped a bombshell on his nation by revealing the crimes of the Enclave to the public. An independent commission was formed, known as the Calhoun Commission after its chief Bill Calhoun, to investigate the allegations. The commission found not only were the Enclave's crimes clear as day, but also uncovered evidence of human rights abuses by the pre-war United States government. While in the short term the scandalous report shattered the United States' legitimacy and led to mass protests, in the long term, it helped to build a healthier United States. President Granite's actions set the precedents for transparency. Gone were the days where the government could conduct shady actions behind closed doors, pretending that everything they were doing was for the American public and people, and not for their own machinations of power.
Gannon's mother fled from Navarro after the fall of the Oil Rig, but Gannon returned to the Enclave when Granite was elected. He was one of many who put their hopes in the dream of a better world, and found his faith justified.
After the end of the Great War, freedom of speech vanished from most of America. Would-be despots crushed dissenters in the name of security, progress, or just because they could. Under the Enclave, the First Amendment was restored, and voices silent since the Great War spoke out. Fueled by the dream of freedom and the economic boom that followed reuniting the wastes, a new type of music arose, which the kids call New World Blues. It's about letting go of your first love, because you've met your next. It's about letting go of the past, because you've got to enjoy the present. And it's so poppy that everyone's parents hated it. House once said, if you want to see the fate of democracies, look out the windows. But House didn't address the fact that pre-war America was not a democracy. Granite's dream was to restore America at its best, and that meant the land of freedom. Deciding not to seek a fourth term after the war with Chicago, Granite stayed silent during debates over the Brotherhood War, the Hawaiian Conference, and the campaign against the South American raiders. Those debates, bringing forth millions of voters across the reunited states, were simply democracy in action. The Enclave once believed that wastelanders were mutants fit only for extermination, and even many reformers within the Enclave viewed the wastelanders as, if human, second-class citizens. More than one centrist saw the wastelanders as humans, but inferior stock, who needed to be salvaged through genetic testing and other programs to save the American people. Under Granite, America tried to live up to its founding ideals, that all men are created equal. Wastelanders, vault dwellers, and Enclave purists all lived together, continuing the American experiment. The Great War saw an end to the America of old, snuffed out in the blinding flash of nuclear bombs. Worse still, Those who sought shelter in the vaults for safety were subjected to horrifying experiments at the hands of those who claimed to protect them. 200 years later, however, the government had returned to the mainland, and under the enclave America was reborn, the stars and stripes flying high over the land. And while still a far cry from the America of old, it gave people hope. Where raiders, knights, and barons once tread saw communities, families, and the first progress in centuries. America had come out of the Great War a little battered, but better than it ever had been. As the 2300s closed in, the future had never been brighter.